This content is brought to you by Kim Westland Incorporated, helping you create a vision for your life. Hi, I'm Kim Westland. I'm here to help you discover and take action on your vision so you can build the life you've always dreamed about. Developing and having confidence in yourself, in what you do and who you are, is so incredibly important to walking out the success that you are called to. You may know deep down on the inside what path you want to take or even the kind of difference that you want to make in the world. But if you have not developed confidence to go any further or to get past some of those major obstacles, chances are you're not going to get to where you want to go. So, what steals our confidence? Why is this an issue? I don't know about you, but when I look around today, I hear a lot of people talking fear, and it could be about their job or career, their kids, their relationships. When they look at their future, it looks bleak. They don't know what's going to happen. Finances, even security, just feeling secure in your life. When we watch a lot of the news and we are scrolling on social media, fear just seems to be everywhere. There's so much doubt and negativity, and stress can just take over our thoughts on a daily basis. And we can end up just pulling back and retreating from everything and feeling like we need to shrink things down so that we can make things super manageable. Our human nature pushes us to want to be in control of what's happening all around us. And the fact is, we just can't. That is just not realistic. So, how do we develop confidence in ourselves despite what's happening all around us and even to us? We need to put past failures in their place. What do I mean by that? This is a big one because despite our best efforts, we are all going to fall short sometimes and we're going to fail at things, important things, some big, some small. But the point is, we will all experience failure at some point in our lives. I've told this story many times, but when I started out in life, I had such big dreams and big hopes, and just as many people do. And as I stepped out to try new things, I found out that not everything worked out the way that I thought it would. I experienced failure in a whole lot of areas: relationship, marriage, finances, career, like you name it. It was all around me. And I had to start understanding that failure was a part of my journey and that I had to build some resilience to overcome the failures. And that might be easier said than done, but there were steps that I took. And the first one was I had to forgive myself and I had to realize that I am not my failures, right? They don't define me. There's something that happened to me. And I had to be careful because if I let it, I could have let those failures really define my self image and really affect how I saw myself. And I'll be honest, for a time, I did see myself as a bit of a failure. So I really had to work hard at reframing this. When you think about it, how can I be confident if I'm constantly doubting myself and things that I've made mistakes at? Every single time that I fall short now, or I fail at something big or small, no matter what it is, I choose to deal with it sooner rather than later. I don't sweep it under the carpet because then I give it power to come back and affect me later or even remain in my life and affect everything I do from that point forward. So I came to realize that I have what it takes on the inside of me to move past any failure if I choose to do so. It doesn't mean that it's automatic, but once you set your mindset that you can move past something like a big failure, that's going to give you the first steps towards success. And knowing this, I can confidently move forward, probably with some lessons under my belt and some forgiveness in my heart and my self-worth and my value intact. But the point is, I can then move forward. I remember years back, I used to love watching makeovers. Do you remember makeovers when people would be picked to come onto a show and they were feeling a little out of sorts because they had out of date hairstyles and they had old clothes and they hadn't bought anything in a long time and they just didn't feel like things fit anymore. And they would take them and they would get a hairstylist and they would find a designer and pick some new clothes and do their makeup and just go through this whole process. And I would get so excited to watch these people come out on stage and maybe their families would be sitting there and they would see these people come out just walking with a whole new confidence. It would be like a whole new person had emerged. And even though they made some external changes, it was the internal changes that really stood out to me. They walked differently. They showed up different. It was like they had a whole new lease on life. And it made me think about how I have felt when I have found a new outfit and it fits so well. It's like putting on something that felt like it was made for me and feeling so good in it. I walk differently when I find something like that. I act differently. I feel my confidence rise. There's something magical about finding something that fits you so specifically. It's like a custom made feel. From time to time I'll notice a clothing trend or a makeup trend or even a trending reel. And I'll think, this clothing trend that's going on, is that me? Even though I might think, well, that's just fun, just if to jump on a trend. There's nothing wrong with that. But I've found too that it's something that I need to pay attention to. And why is that? Am I doing this in other areas of my life? Am I always kind of finding a reason to jump on a trend because everybody else is doing it? Think about who inspires you. When I think of somebody like that, I think of somebody who's willing to be themselves, show up, not following the crowd, not being a go along just because everybody else is doing it. I really am drawn to people who stand out. And it might not be even what's really popular at the moment, but that doesn't matter to me. And if you think about it, who inspires you? It's a great question to ask. And why are you inspired by them? Is that one of those qualities that you look for? So this makes me also wonder, does my environment fit me? Does your environment fit you? And what environment do I flourish in? When I left the corporate world, I had to take some time to understand who my people are. To this day, I am still assessing if I fit in certain circles that I used to run in. Because when I was in a certain role, I would develop relationships and networking and different communications with certain groups of people because that was my job. And I found when I left that job, I had to dial in, was that still the same group that I should be associating with? Not always. Certain individuals, certainly, I have made friendships and those will continue on, but I'm talking in general terms. And it's a great exercise because we can easily default to who we know, good or bad fit, or if they're just maybe even familiar to us, and really hold back from exploring new opportunities with new people. How badly am I trying to fit a square peg in a round hole? And if that's the case, chances are I would constantly struggle in those circles and not find my people. And I did that for a time. And I had to realize I needed to find what fits me now. I need to put on that custom suit and walk in confidence. So I encourage you to think about your environment, the things that are around you, the people around you. Does it fit you now and where you're at in your life? Put on that custom suit. Find the thing that really fits you well and the people that you associate with and your audience and all those things that really will support you on your journey and walk in that confidence. One area that I find also that is so key to walking in confidence is also to understand our own identity. Can I just say, you are already a winner. See yourself in the winner's circle before anything else. If you're trying to become something you're not, you're never going to find that groove and that sweet spot that you want to be operating in. There's only one of you. And I've said it before. We have these fingerprints that are uniquely ours. Nobody before us, nobody ahead of us will ever have this specific fingerprint, right? It requires confidence to walk a path that only you can walk. A lack of confidence could stop you from never truly stepping into what you are called to do. So let me ask you now, where is your identity coming from, or what is it attached to? If you've performed in any role or company and you've had a title, uh, I'm going old school here, but maybe a metal plate on your desk or a parking spot with your name on it or a name on the door. Have you placed your valuable identity into some of these meaningless things like a name tag that has your name and title on it? Maybe you currently have this job and you feel like this is who you are. This job will come to an end one day. And then what? I want you to picture that day. Who are you? Because if you've received that gold watch and you've walked out the door, you then have to assess, who am I in that moment? Do you know many people die prematurely after retiring because they don't have a sense of purpose? And much of that is connected to their identity. That job gave them all of who they are. They allowed that job to really define who they are as a person. And when that job goes away, then they feel incredibly lost. So if you threw out everything, the job title, even the title of mom or dad or brother or sister, spouse or wife, husband, professional, athlete, is it enough? I'm going to say yes. You are enough. And if you haven't heard that before, and this is the first time, please let that sink in. You are enough without any title attached to you, but you have to know that. So I encourage you, take some time to get to know yourself and value you for who you are with nothing else attached. Not what you've been told, positive or negative, not any of those titles that I mentioned. Even if you've titled yourself as a failure or you've hung your hat on all the successes that you've had, and now what? Those things don't define who you are. Those are things you've done or not done, or just things that have happened to you. I've told the story before about being a single parent. I did that for 17 years. And after time, I realized how important it was that I don't identify with that specific title. Because how can I have confidence in succeeding when I'm identifying only what others say a single parent should have or do or succeed at? Now, I will say, single parenting is a really tough job and it's got some added challenges. It's ultimately my decision on what my own journey looks like as a single parent. My identity is not caught up in what everybody else says a single parent should look like. The simple truth is, I'm never going to be confident trying to be somebody else or following the path of somebody else. Whenever I myself have been confused about who I am, or I've kind of gotten off track and I'm lacking some confidence in what I am capable of, I go back to my manufacturer. I ask God who I am and I rediscover my own potential. That has been so effective in my own life. When you think about it, when you buy a toaster and it's not working properly and living up to what it's been designed to do, what do? You call the manufacturer, you get it fixed, you order replacement parts, you address the problem, but you do something about it. You don't leave it the way it is. Start deeply understanding what gifts you have and how you can develop them and use them in a way that no one else can. You're unique and you have unique gifts. And do you know that gifts can emerge from some of the darkest places that we walk through and experience? Putting your gifts to use will result in confidence because no one else can walk in those specific areas and gifts like you can. You are so many great things. And I encourage you to start focusing every day on what you can do instead of what you can't. Every day, make a habit to write something positive about yourself. And you might think, well, that's just kind of silly, but it's not. Take a sticky note, make it super practical, put it on your bathroom mirror, say something positive. You are the biggest influence on you, not what someone else said or the failures that you've experienced. But when you talk to you and you say those things, that has huge impact. When you focus on those right things, believe the best of yourself instead of what others have said, and especially if God says you're valuable, then it's settled. And when you truly start believing that, confidence is going to start developing and you are well on your way. Subscribe to this channel for more inspiration and tools like this to build your vision. Thanks for listening.